Okay, a very good morning to each and all, and welcome to our daily devotion. Today we are going to be focusing on Psalms chapter 84. So please turn to your physical copy of the Bible or a digital, whichever to your comfort, and let's get straight into it. So first we'll be looking at the context of what is going on in the psalm. So in this psalm, the psalmist wants to make a pilgrimage. Now the psalmist is most likely Asaph, and he wants to make a pilgrimage, but he is unable to make the pilgrimage, either because he is on duty or because of war or because he's occupied somewhere else too far away that he can't make the pilgrimage. So he's so heartbroken, and he goes on to say how he's even jealous of all the sparrows, the birds, all that build their nest near the temple or around the temple. He's jealous of the birds that they get to visit the temple, but he cannot. And he wishes that he could join the people who are currently making the pilgrimage, and saying that he knows that while making the pilgrimage, God blesses people with his presence. And then he goes on to say that he's unable to join his fellow countrymen who's making the pilgrimage, and is disappointed, and then he begs God to protect his king, who God had appointed to protect Jerusalem. Now, this is going to be very short and simple. What we can take away from this is, now we can see that the psalmist is very disappointed that he cannot make the pilgrimage. Now, fortunately for us, we do not have that struggle per se. Now you can say, I cannot make it to church, or I cannot come to this service or that service. But through Christ, he has become our ultimate temple. Now, while during the times of Old Testament, the temple in Jerusalem was the ultimate temple. Through Jesus Christ and his sacrifice, we are blessed, and in a sense we are so lucky that Jesus is our ultimate temple. Now, while the psalmist is unable to reach God's temple in Jerusalem, we find fulfillment in Jesus, who declares himself as the ultimate and true temple. And unlike the psalmist in the Old Testament, we don't need to travel to a physical location. God has done the journey for us. Unlike the psalmist or in the Old Testament, we have to make the physical journey. God has done the physical journey for us through Jesus. And for us, access to God comes through inviting the Spirit of Jesus in our lives, unlike walking and making sacrifices in that way. So it's important to know that the good life is not about having everything you wanted. It's about having God even in times, in the midst, and in situations of you having nothing. Okay? So the good life is not about having everything you wanted. It's about having God even in times when you have nothing. So that's something that we have to be thankful for, grateful for, that unlike the psalmists in the Old Testament or the people in the Old Testament who had to travel farther and long distances to go into God's presence, we are blessed and we are thankful for Jesus, who has made the ultimate sacrifice and who has become our ultimate temple, and God has done the journey for us through Jesus, that anywhere, anytime we have access to him. Thank you and have a good day.